Shoot the Breeze. Topic number one says, what can we do to sub the enemy of our host nations when we're in the West? What can we do to sub the enemy of our host nations when we're in the West? This comes with an attachment that takes us to X, formerly known as Twitter. This is a tweet from Ace Smart. Let me just make sure everything looks right. Yeah, this is a Twitter from Ace Smart. So, excuse me, Mr. Vladimir Putin. We as a country don't F with Joe Biden. So this is a little over a minute video. We'll watch it, then we'll discuss it.
If you don't mind. Excuse me, Mr. Vladimir Putin, if you don't mind, give me 2 seconds of your time. We sick of this nigga here. Please don't blow us up behind him. We don't like him. Not even his own side fuck with him. It's clear what he's trying to do. And in honor of us trying to help you out, not get us blowed up, you can blow that motherfucker up. If you don't mind. Just don't blow us up. Call Trump. He about to be in office. Give him 20 more days. Fuck. Give him like 25 more days. He'll be in office, man. Come on, bro. Just please stall us out, Debo. You want my chain? Huh? You want to 40? I got some change. Hold on. I got some change. I got a 20 right here. Come on, y'all. Let's put together, give Vladimir Putin something special. Joe fucked over us. I got 20, Mr. Putin, with a very sincere apology. I'm going to get down like they did for KWAZ.
All right. I'll just play one more time to give everyone an opportunity to settle in real quick. So one more time, just 1 minute.
Excuse me, Mr. Vladimir Putin, if you don't mind, give me 2 seconds of your time. We sick of this nigga here. Please don't blow us up behind him. We don't like him. Not even his own side fuck with him. It's clear what he's trying to do. And in honor of us trying to help you out, not get us blowed up, you can blow that motherfucker up. If you don't mind. Just don't blow us up. Call Trump. He about to be in office. Give him 20 more days. Fuck. Give him like 25 more days. He'll be in office, man. Come on, bro. Just please stall us out, Debo. You want my chain? Huh? You want a 40? I got some change. Hold on. I got some change. I got a 20 right here. Come on, y'all. Let's put together, give Vladimir Putin something special. Joe fucked over us. I got 20, Mr. Putin, with a very sincere apology. I'm going to get down like they did for KWAZ.
All right. That's an interesting attachment there. Let's see if Buana's cooking right now. Buana, how are you this week? All right, Buana, if you're speaking, you're muted. Nope. There goes Buana again. So Black Steel is me and you. Black Steel, what are your thoughts? What can we do to sub the enemies of our host nations when we're in the West?
This is an interesting prompt, and I think although it's meant very much a humorous prompt, I think it's very timely because of the fact that Russia has actually lowered the threshold necessary for a nuclear strike in response to a conventional attack. So that being said, Ukraine has actually used weapons made by US, Great Britain, other NATO countries as a response, and they're striking deep into Russian territory. So Russia, because of this, they're saying that if you use weapons made from another country or by a NATO ally, they consider NATO involved in the attack. So they're lowering the requirements necessary for them to go nuclear. And it puts all of us in grave danger. And for one thing, I think to do humorously is trying to say we ain't got no parts of that. But the reality is that the West is willing to destroy the world if they're not able to maintain their hegemony. When I say the West, I mean the United States and its allies. They want to maintain their dominance as the world's only superpower, and they're willing to destroy it if they can't maintain control of it. With this being said, Russia actually does have more nuclear weapons than the U.S. But the problem about a nuclear war is that it's mutually assured destruction. Nobody comes out alive in that situation. Eventually that could lead to destruction of most of the higher life forms on the planet. And the thing is that Trump doesn't take office until January 20th of next year. So Biden is in his lame duck presidency right now. There's nothing he can really do. He's just waiting for the next president to take office. In this period of time, Biden has chosen to escalate, but actually escalate conditions with Ukraine, escalate the wars in Gaza and everything else like that, instead of using this time to maybe tamp down on him, because he's not going to be president anymore. What can they do to hurt him? He's going to be out of here in 2 months. He's like, fuck it, I'm just going to throw gas on the fire. As far as when he said, I'm assuming he said by we and mean black people, there's very little we can do. There's very little that black people can do to deal with these omnicidal monsters who are willing to destroy the entire planet. Nothing short of revolutionary Pan-Africanism, right? Because Pan-Africanism is a threat to white domination of the planet, which is why they work so hard to prevent us from organizing and uniting. The problem with that is that too many of us don't see, we can't even imagine the possibility of black people being independent and free to make their own decisions, or even to impact the world on a global stage. And we forget that Africa was the world's first superpower. Ancient Egypt was the dominant power of the world at this time. We're no strangers to power. We're no strangers to control and dominate. Not to say dominating, but having a decisive voice in our reality. But yet and still, we can't even imagine. As a comment here, we should be putting our energy on leaving the West. If it's a nuclear war, ain't no leaving nothing. Everybody dies. If you don't get hit by a direct blast, the nuclear fallout, the nuclear winter is still going to affect you. There's no leaving the West. The West has to be confronted and has to be stopped. Yeah, you're not going anywhere. There's nowhere you can go to escape that, I'm afraid. I know a lot of our people, they want to expat. I'm not against that. Just the reality is that if the United States and Russia go nuclear, ain't really no place you can go to avoid that, which is why we have to break their power. But that's going to take a level of organization and pride that we just don't have as African people just yet. I think, but we have to start now, because time is running out. I have no doubt that if it comes to it, if we get to the brink, that they won't hesitate to attack. The United States is often threatened, the threat of nuclear war. Israel is known to have nuclear weapons. So this could very well be a bad case. I understand the brother saying in humor and in jest, but I get his point. Hey, we don't want any part of this. Here Biden his administration pouring gasoline on an already raging fire. I'll leave it there. Thanks.
I appreciate that. Black Steel. Lero in the chat said, we joke about it, but it's a real thing to consider. However, the U.S. is the one with the known history of such actions. Instead of begging Russia, maybe beg America to stop warmongering. Lero goes on to say, however, begging goes a little way when you're a powerless people. She says, this is why I'm an advocate for repatriation. Because while it's true there is nowhere to avoid that fallout, being in the back end of the East's enemy isn't very smart. And earlier, Cheryl said, agreed, we should be putting our energy to leaving the West. Cheryl here says, It's not about escaping, but how do you gather black pride if you mostly around white people? Sure goes on to say you can't talk about organizing without talking about Africa. All right. Lastly, Lero says people tell you about the flames, but we don't see through the smoke. Reactive. Let's try with Buana again. Buana, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Can y'all brothers hear me?
Yes, sir.
It's
Buana,
about time. Jeez.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to hear from everyone. I hope everyone is healthy and well. I want to build on what Black Steel.
Buana, you cut out?
Oh, come on, boy. You got that dial-up internet, man. What's going on?
Buana. In the meantime, let me, Buana, fix your situation. We can't hear you. In the meantime, let's welcome in our brother to Forecast Radio. Forecast, how are you this week?
What's going on, Koku? How are you doing, my brother?
Good, man. Thanks for coming through tonight. How are you?
I'm good.
All right. Forecast, what can we do to stop the enemies of our host nations when we're in the West?
All right. So, my answer to this would be, as individuals, what I'm saying, you have to find whatever goal it is that you're trying to achieve to get you in a position to where you could be stable for yourself first and foremost, like whether it be making a business or whatever, and then of course fellowship with the people that's already in your lane, that's black around you, you know what I'm saying? And you link up with the people. Once you start having resources and the things you need, you start linking up with the like-minded people around you, whether you have meetings, discussions or whatever, and you start making plans for whatever you want to do. And then y'all raise money to a point where, you build in your own communities and your own locations and all of this other stuff. And then, once you have your resources and all of that, you reach out, because if you realize, because I agree with Black Steel when it comes to like certain things, there's nothing we could do right now because we at the mercy of other people. If we go to war, we'll be fighting for a European nation, most likely, for most of us. And if something happened, like right now, that's why you start from the basics, right? So once you build up the resources and all of that, you start going over there, even if it's individuals or individual groups where you putting money together to either acquire land or resources that's from the land, and helping the people over there manufacture and get the stuff that's out of the ground, because there's uranium over there too. So once you do that, you build up your own stuff, and eventually you become a superpower. But I understand what most people saying, like black people ain't gonna work together. That's why you start with your own individual thing, your individual goal to build up your resources so that you can go invest in whatever it is over there and build your connections for whatever you need, and then also you should just be prepared anyway, because you never know what could happen as far as canned goods and all type of stuff, because it's just like I said, there's nothing you could do. And Europeans is psychopaths, so they don't care. Before they die, they'll take everybody with them. You know what I mean? And also the Chinese as well, And also, if you're going to do business with other groups of people, make sure that you start having leverage. Don't let Russia come in and be like, yo, what do I have to pay for that? All right, it's fine if they want to help you, but what are you paying? Is you paying with the servitude of your people, or what, or China coming in? You want to make sure that you, for your individual group, that you control whatever it is that you can control, and try to get as many people on the same board. And to also do that, you go back to your community and help with the youth and stuff like that. You can't just go out there and telling them stuff. You take them resources that you help build from whatever you're doing, you know what I'm saying, and try to get them and educate them to do the same thing. And so you have more people putting together. So, but yeah, that's all I'll say. I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, appreciate that, Forecast. What Forecast? Forecast is spot on. Forecast is building off of what Black Steel had said too, and some of you in the chat. But Forecast is talking about organizing, not just being organized in the West, but go back in Africa and organize. And it reminds me, I don't know which one of you posted. I don't know if it was Oni. I don't know if it was Black Steel. Someone posted like about 2 weeks ago. I can't remember who it is. If it's Carter G. Woodson who said it. But they said that Africa needs business, what do they call it? Business magnates. Meaning you need powerful business operatives working in the favor of Africa. Forecast said something that, dude, these nuclear weapons that they're building, the key to those nuclear weapons is mostly in Africa under the dirt. Like, and this is why, again, I'm not trying to knock anyone, but this is why I say Africans on the continent need to really be at the forefront of Pan-Africanism, quite frankly, because you guys have the mineral deposits, you have the mineral richness. You guys really need to get the old shit together. Like I saw some Ghanaians, I think it was. I don't know if Trigger Happy saw it or not, but I was asking for someone to translate. I saw some Ghanaians rolling some Chinese out. One Ghanaian took a 2x4 and smashed one right in the fucking head, which I love to see. Right? Get them people up out the paint and take control of that stuff in the dirt. They can't, I mean, they already built what they have, enough to destroy the world. But you can take that shit too and start organizing around science and what have you, and start building some stuff too. And that's the problem that we have. We are just, like I think it was Larry who said it earlier in the chat, we just sitting around waiting for some shit to happen. I like what Brother Bakari said in the chat earlier too. He said, I know the guy in the video, this is Brother Bakari. I know the guy in the video is joking, but we always show our fear of white people publicly. I hate that too. I get it was like tongue in cheek, but like Black Steel said, there's some real seriousness to this too. Trigavi 262 plus in the chat says to stop them, organize, or leave the West. Cheryl said, if you say that there's going to be nuclear fallout and it doesn't matter where you are, why talk about organizing? Black resources, the highest resource-rich nation in the world, and we don't want to connect. Cheryl later said, exactly, brother. I think she was referring to something I said. Lero says, making moral appeals to power is futile. You can't stop those nations. You can only leverage yourself to counter. Africa supplies the world with their nuclear programs, but have none themselves. That's the craziest part. Now, it sounds like Traore and them are going to change that. Hopefully the people are organizing defenses around him and his people, but it sounds like they're going to try to organize it. That's what we need. Instead of just being reactionary to some shit that's happening. It's like how Thanksgiving is coming up now, right? So-called Thanksgiving. You have the adults table, and then there's the children's table. Like, we are perpetually at the children's table, talking a bunch of nonsense. We have to be better than that. Let's try with Buana. One more again. Buana.
Can you hear me, Coco? Yeah,
yes, sir. I can hear you now.
No, I'm good. You was trying to get to me. You was trying to. I thought I. Yes. Y'all didn't hear what I had to say?
No.
Wow. Okay, so let me start again. Okay. So Black Steel mentioned something as to Joe Biden exacerbating the crisis in the Ukraine. And what I said is that Joe Biden has shown himself to be a lame duck president. So I don't understand why he wants to exacerbate a situation when he's on the way out. He's proven himself to be a senile. He's senile. He is not all there. And the fact that generals or responsible people would take his advice on his way out to exacerbate a crisis that could have long-term effects, someone has to be able to say, okay, we can't listen to this guy. He's on his way out. He's a politician. He doesn't know about war and how many deaths that is going to be incurred by his decisions. And we can't respect the seat so much that we are going to listen to what this man has to say on his way out. So he'll not be responsible for for the chaos that he's going to create. In fact, he's an old man. So if some adult people have to be in the room and say, yeah, Mr. President, we'll get right to it in what, February, as long as you're not in office anymore, because we can't listen to you. You're proving yourself to be a lame duck. You're a senile person, and you're on your way out. I'm not going to exacerbate a crisis. So I don't think some adult person, some wise general should be in the room to say, Mr. President, we can't do that. We can't go along with this. And as far as the statement, what I said is that we are at the mercy of some of these powers who have nuclear capabilities. We are at the mercy, unfortunately, because Africa has not decided to become nuclear capable, nor has the Caribbean or any other so-called black run and led society. So we are at the mercy of these so-called powers. When it comes to the nuclear way of fighting, biologically, I'm sure that African countries could fight biologically. I'm sure we could fight in different kind of ways and manner. The Mexicans or the drug dealers and Mexicans, Carlos Lita say, I want to fight America by using the drugs. And he's been very successful at that. In fighting the enemy, in fighting the so-called enemies in America. But as far as this nuclear kind of situation, we are at the mercy of the West, these Western powers, including Russia. So I don't know if we'll be able to stave off our enemies in fighting fisticuffs with them as far as nuclear capability. But I'll leave it there. I hope you could hear me.
That was good, Juan. We heard you just fine.
Yeah, that was good.
I want to say something real quick though, about what Juan said when he.
All right, let me just hit some.
Go
real
ahead.
Quick. Lero says that we cooperate with Russia, China, there needs to be a tech information exchange, which is why I get down with how the AES deals with these nations compared to some others. Trigger Happy 262 Plus says, yeah, our dealings have to be in getting technology and not an import of culture. Absolutely. Cheryl said the European leader said, if you don't want other nations to bother Africa, get some nukes. Yeah, I saw that, white boy. That was like this past week, I think. And I was surprised not surprised. I was more so questioning why would he say that. But he was talking about, I hope Africa gets nukes. Azuliism is out there. Shout out to Azuliism. He said, this is Candyland. It's Candyland. You can't destroy Candyland. I get the reference. He also says, you done effed up. This Candyland, N-word. You can't destroy Candyland. We've been here. There's always going to be a Candyland. Can't no N-word gunfighter kill all the white folks in the world.
Spoken like a true Stephen from Django.
That's a self-own. Those are rare. He's burned himself. Hilarious.
Hey, I can see him crying right now when one of them gets shot. Like, no,
Master Calvin. Oh, Calvin. But
last
I want to
comment
say
from
something to what Buana said, right? There's only ever been one African nation to actually possess nuclear weapons, and that was apartheid South Africa, right? And South Africa helped Israel develop their nuclear weapons program as well. But nuclear weapons serve as a deterrent because, again, the threat of mutually assured destruction. Just like when Saddam Hussein had biological weapons in Iraq, or when Gaddafi had, biological weapons in Libya. The West was hesitant to invade and overthrow. It wasn't until they got rid of those weapons that they invaded those countries. They overthrew them. So I do agree that nuclear weapons, biological weapons, they do act as a deterrent to the Western powers. So in the event of like an invasion or whatnot. So far, they've been content with their neocolonialism and their sanctions. But again, and I say you can't run away from it, because the idea is that I'm about confronting, right? I believe that the European and the Western powers have proven themselves unfit to dominate the planet, right? They're unfit to rule. And their rule is driving all life on this planet to the brink of extinction. So I don't believe that And anybody who wants to expatriate, more power to you. But I believe the goal should not be to expatriate, but rather to organize for power, for Pan-Africanism, for revolution, to be able to take these people from off their seat of power. And I believe that there are many choke points. This empire that the West has is not invincible. No empire is. Every empire falls. And I think there are certain points of contention that if we were organized, we could definitely take advantage of. And we could hasten this empire's fall. It's already crumbling. It's already going downwards. It's already on a downward spiral. It's only a matter of time. Again, the West wants to have full spectrum dominance: land, sea, air, space, everything. And any nation that could be a threat to that dominance is an enemy. The United States wants to attack China. They want to go to war with China by the year 2030. That is in their planning, right? So there's going to be a pivot to Asia. There's going to be less focus on the Middle East and more focus on Asia. That is the whole reason for the attack in Ukraine, because they see Russia as a threat to global dominance as well. If they can bog Russia down in Ukraine, similar to how the U.S. was bogged down in Afghanistan, or how they were bogged down in Iraq, or how even the Soviets were bogged down in Afghanistan as well during the 1970s and 80s. That's the idea, to get Russia bogged down in Ukraine. So that way, when they make a move against China, China will be cut off. But in reality, this attack on Ukraine has actually brought China and Russia closer together as allies, which makes the U.S. Puts them in a more precarious position. They're isolating their allies, for one, and through various reasons. Is definitely something that as we have to pay attention to. And Black people, at least especially not in the United States, because we're such a minority here, but we have a lot of support internationally that can be used to help hasten the demise of this system that we have in it. So I'll leave it there.
Appreciate that, Black Steel. Laro in the chat says we must take our scientific and military development seriously. It must be hand in hand, even. AI controlled drones, 5G warfare is coming to our future, and many of our people can't put food on the table. She goes on to say there won't be any Black power in the U.S. If people think Black people are going to organize to take down the U.S., I got a bridge to sell you. No disrespect. Logically, it's unrealistic. Trigger Happy 262 says the constant battle between Russia and the rest of Europe is the battle for Europe, with Ukraine as the battleground to disrupting any sort of Russian military border. Cheryl says you need access to serious Pan-Africanists on the continent to have power of influence over the generations. Once a generation, I guess, emerges that aren't obsessed with European and Arab religion, we will win. We'll talk about these Abrahamic religions tonight as well. Lastly, Laro says white nationalists spend the greater part of the year comparing Black folks to Hamas. Were you ready for that treatment? Great question.
It's coming whether we're ready or not, though. You know what? That's a good point, because we always talk about what's going on overseas, but there's such a thing as imperial blowback, meaning that what happens out there in the empire eventually comes back home. That's what Malcolm X said when he said chickens coming home to roost. The violence America had overseas came back as a boomerang and killed its president. So that's a really good point, what Laro said. I wish she'd come up. We need more sisters on board the panel. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Hint, hint, wink, wink. I appreciate that. Any other last thoughts from the panelists here?
Yeah, I'll say this. Okay,
go ahead.
No, well, I'll just say one thing, because I agree with that. Like, until you have something that you can stop people just from coming in and taking your stuff anyway. And if they're going to do it, like, I don't know if y'all think like Hamas fights back or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I know Black people don't, so that's what I do know. And like, as far as like nuclear bomb, it's like, as far as us being afraid of it, I don't think that we'll ever be ready until we not only not be afraid of it, but consider maybe even using it ourselves. But I ain't, but I'll leave it at that. So
thank you for that forecast. In the chat, Cheryl agrees. She says Lero makes a good point. Trigabi 262 Plus says Black people in America still believe in an American project. In all forms of people activity, Black people are losing. You can go from dating to politics. You don't win in another man's country. Ain't that the truth? Lero says, plus honestly, when we talk about nuclear war, Israel seems more likely to first drop a nuke. That was a real good discussion. I really appreciated that from the panelists as well as the chat. Let's keep that energy going for the rest of the night if we can. Let's go to Shoot Breeze topic number 2.